Hey, this is Peter. I'm just going to from Wargaming with Peter, and aka the Dawn Patrol when I'm doing ATG chats. But today I'm doing a kind of just a quick walkthrough review of the recently released Armored Brigade 2 by Vitica Studios, as published by Matrix Games. So let's take a look here. Just give you kind of an idea of what you get documentation-wise. Here's the game manual. I'll kind of slow roll through this just real quick. We'll come back to this pretty often while I'm doing this, just because I don't know everything about everything. Just kind of a disclaimer: I was a part of the beta testing, the public beta testing group. So we had tested it for a goodly month plus. Even at the beginning of that, it was in pretty darn good shape. I think we just noticed a few things that needed attention just from kind of just some basic functional call outs, really, more than anything. Like, for example, I think one thing I had called out was just the ability to kind of reset your view from top down, and they did that very quickly after I mentioned it. Was impressed with that. So Vitica had added the ability to click the compass, and then it auto top downs it back to a set height, if you will. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. All right, so let's jump into the game itself. I have this set windowed. Obviously, you can run it full screen, and I believe it does support some unique dimensions. If I recall, several folks during the beta testing had very large widescreens. So as far as I could tell, it supports just about all modern monitors. No major issues, at least reported throughout. So this is the public release game. This is not the beta. I am going to just approach this I'm going to show you what I can think about. Think about showing you just from a perspective. What is it? Let's just start with what you get out of the box. Armored Brigade 2 single missions. We'll go down each of these just very quickly. I haven't done a lot of campaign generation, so I kind of screwed that up. Just don't use fighting. Alright, so single missions. I, the ones that I know are new or unique to Armored Brigade 2 would be these first four, for starters. You got basic tutorial. You have certain functional changes you can do your ops because it's a nice little feature. It's kind of a nice timed round feature ecosystem. So again, here's the basic movement, advanced movement. Give me a second to read that. Closer support tutorial, artillery mortars tutorial. So let me go back to this. All right. I'll let you read that. So I'm not sure if you want to play the game using rounds of similar ecosystem popular games, then you can set the round length. In Armored Brigade 2, orders could be issued for any rounds in progress, but it's not possible to pause or save rounds. We'll do it both ways, just I'll show you both ways. The standard way and the way around base. Alright, so if you do want to change, I would not recommend doing that for these tutorials. I was going to say, I just think I might mess it up. I haven't tried it. Alright, so that's all that. I'm not going to get into those. I'll let you experience this. Buy the game. Here's a very common one that everybody uses for testing. We can kind of jump into this, I guess. I personally like the River Elbe crossing one, but these are all what I need to do. I honestly, I mean, a lot of these are from the original, from what I could tell, but I don't think all of them are, and definitely the scripting showcase ones are new, and they show kind of airborne assault examples and stuff. Kind of gives you a better idea of advanced the advances in the waypoint editing and AI scripting in general. I mean, the way that it was described to me is that, and this is from the AB1 days, you have the objectives and the AI has a very, specific routine and such to reach those objectives based on whether it's a meeting engagement, attack or a defense situation. And you'll kind of see that again mentioned here in a moment when we create our own. I'm going to bring up one of these just real quick, and then I'll do one where I kind of auto make one, right? Um, Dynamically create one from a larger map area, which I kind of personally think is the resale value of the game. It's one of the better functions of it. It's very unique. It's a very unique approach to a war game and kind of making it kind of more sandboxy, if you will. There are parts of me that wish it had like just a straight up from scratch mission editor, but you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into the generating missions. Okay, so just real quick, let's take a look at this mission down low because that's where the vast improvements in AB2 are, of course. All right, so from this, if you were to just look at the game from top level, not very, not too different from the original, right? And quite honestly, that's for me, it feels like home, right? I guess is the way to put that. The one thing I'll call out here is we no longer have an ISO view, which interestingly it was one of the first things I had called out when I was on a beta team because I was like, oh man, I'm so used to it. I think it's just more of a used to it thing because really ultimately, ISO view is the entire thing now because now, boom, look, we have three-dimensional views and you can basically, with the height maps, with the height map and the fact that the height map is kind of a part of the mini map, if you will, or a better name for that. Then they kind of decided to remove it because it was kind of deemed as no longer really necessary. The whole point of the 3D is your isometric view, right? And I get it. The other thing that they've kind of changed. So again, I was probably one of the biggest fans of the line of sight tool, profile tool. And they took it out and they replaced it with kind of more of a Steel Beast. I guess the way I would describe it is it's very much like the Steel Beast and the combat mission line of sight mechanism. You could just do you can kind of just do a quick check like this, but then if you want a more specific view of it, that's the full kind of like the white area is where you can see the gray area is kind of like the obstructed, and then the dark gray blackish is kind of nil or negated. You don't see that area. Let me turn this off again. So if I go from any spot, like let's say I was looking for if there was an enemy here, what could they see? That kind of goes there where, it's got trees in front of you, so you're obstructed. Over here, you're completely no line of sight. Here's obstructed, and it tells you the percentage. See, it's actually variable. Actually, I didn't know it was that variable. But then up here, you start getting into the green. As you can see, it looks like, let's see, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, and that's based on heights and obstructions and so forth. So that's all that. Pretty simple, very, very Steel Beasty, if you've all seen that. I think Combat Mission has a very similar line of sight tool as well. Alright, so then, the drum roll please. This is the, this is the meat and butter of, meat and butter? Yeah, meat, bread and butter, not meat and butter. So weird menu. Of the game is the new 3D view. It looks very good. Again, the 3D models are simple. They're not overly complex, and quite honestly, the game performs extremely well because of that, right? The terrain is very good. It concentrates. Is this quite as good as like the Sea Power by Microprose level of 3D? Arguably no, but it's not trying to be either, right? And it's not really even trying to be I mean, it's definitely kind of beyond combat mission level 3D, I think, personally. But then, even then, you know, it's keeping the polygons down and it's keeping the textures down because, look, I mean, look at how quick. I mean, you're doing all this and watch, if I just save and exit, boom, you know, and kind of continuing on that, watch this, kind of getting back into the 3D world right to my mission that I was at, boom. I mean, it's a pretty damn quick engine, and this is a completely, they, you know, they are in control of this engine. They have complete power over it, if you will, and control over the performance. So this is quite an impressive feat to add this into the original game in a relatively short period of time of development. I might need to ask them what that was. I think it's probably been 2 years plus. They might have been continuing development for a long while, but I'll try to get some answers on that. But I mean, as you can see, it's just flawless. I mean, that's just, for me, that's just absolutely a work of art as far as the flawlessness of the zoom levels. There, I mean, yeah, I've heard people complaining about the camera and the fact that you got to use the. I'm using the middle mouse right now to do all this crap, but you know, whatever. It is what it is. We can kind of ask for different hotkeying and so forth for things. Hopefully, we get that. There's not much of a dynamic hotkeys yet. Now, here's the one thing that we did ask for, is what I was talking about before. Like, if you're in here, you know, if you're paused like we are right here, you want to kind of quickly get from back to top down. You click the compass view like that. See, boom, and then you just kind of very quickly get out. The easiest way to get around a map is to hit the compass. You know, if you're down there doing stuff, looking at stuff, whatever, you hit that compass. You come up and you kind of mouse wheel out, mouse wheel down to kind of, and then you can go around quicker. I think that's generally how I do it. And then you kind of left quick to get where you want to go where you. This is kind of neat. This is different. This is very different than other games. Watch this. If you zoom in and then you move your mouse, it'll actually go towards where your mouse is going. See that? It's kind of, that's an interesting touch. Not many games do that, and it's kind of, it's not that I didn't like it at first. I just wasn't used to it. But like, watch again. I'm out here, and if I put my mouse over here and wheel down, it'll, see that? It's kind of like a pan view mouse scroll. It's kind of interesting. I like that. Mileage may vary for everybody. It's, of course, personal taste. But that's all that. Let's take a quick look at kind of unloading and stuff. I definitely feel like I'll probably make this a part 1 and part 2 just so I don't run out of breath here. So very somewhat similar so far to just from a top-down perspective. Right click is similar, very similar to the original, of course. The unloading, let's go ahead and unload these real quick. If the unload waypoint is given, then the unit advances to the waypoint and unloads its passengers when it's destination. So I've set an unload, I'm just going to put it here. Alright, so let's just start this and see that happening. Oh, I got to put the TRPs out. Target reference points. Right, let me go do that real quick. Boom. Boom. And TR points, I actually just read up on them because I didn't know. I wanted to be sure I knew the exact. Oop, I just screwed up. I think I might have just messed up. Give me 1 second. Okay, perfect, good. I didn't find a bug. All right. Let me put the sound back on so you can hear it. Hopefully you can hear that with me. Let me go check my OBS to see if it's coming up. Yeah, it is. All right, cool. Where was I? Let us. Again, we're just kind of messing with the. Where the hell was that we did that? I thought we did that with the HQ, didn't we? Just resume it real quick. Oh yeah, there you are. You can kind of hear them going forward. And then you got the same thing from before, but now it's completely 3D, of course. Yeah, as we were saying, we're kind of like, we're basically fighting in the ISO view, so they're no longer really needed. If you click on any of these, it will kind of go back to where each of those logged situations are occurring. I currently have, let's go look at this. I have everything paused because I like to know when things are happening, and I have an attention span of a freaking squirrel, so I kind of like to take breaks anyway, whatever. Yeah, another thing with that is that I do a lot of save and exit because my brain goes all over the place. I got 15 things I'm trying to do at once, and literally several games going at once, which I'm sure everybody's very similar. So it's very easy to just come right, save, come right back to where you were. I think I already showed that before. The other cool thing is, let me tell one of these guys to go a little further. Every once in a while I get a little discombobulated, and whenever you do, you just kind of do this again. Again, this is the Twin Valleys one. Alright, I should know this one. I've done this one in AB before. So let me just bring these guys up with Scout, which is just kind of very defensive advancement. So let me resume it, and then let's go fast. And I can't... Yeah, fast. And then as you can see, it's constantly going to be giving me things. So this is probably not the greatest way to show it, but... Okay, so there is, it just told me it finished unloading the passengers. And we should see, there they are. These scouts from each, in this case, man pads. Okay, where's the other one? Thought I had done that. Could be that it's reacting to something else. Bear with me as I figure that out. Or it doesn't have... What the heck's going on there? Oh, that's the communication relay, or the C2 diagramming now. And it kind of gives you an idea of the connection it has to its headquarters unit. In this case, 100%. If I click on this guy, similarly, they are the HQ, so all those connect to here. And I think that's kind of like a range right there. So if I go click on one of those guys, you see that? How the contact is less. And I believe that that is taken into account based on the statuses, the ready and the motivated and suppressed and all that jazz. I don't know all the statuses off the top of my head. I'm kind of looking at the manual here for that. That's the general gist of the existing single player functionality. Let me just kind of show you a few things, just some variety here. Let me show you some of the ambient sound. But as far as just indirect fire and off map, there's not a huge amount different that I'm aware of, at least. I'm still learning it myself, even though beta tested everything. But let's see. We can let's just do some smoke. Throw some smoke way out here. Oh, no line of sight for that. No spotter. Let's see if we can do that better. Somebody's firing. There we go. Let's go ahead and just shoot. Let's go ahead and throw a few rounds. And it should... It's kind of auto-computing that. The way the TRPs work, I believe, is that if the closer you are to a TRP, the quicker it will adjust. If there are none nearby, then it takes a while, as you can see. It should pause when the rounds are available to fire, if I'm not mistaken. It should say blah 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 ready when it gets really fast. Yeah, see there? So let me do that, and then let's do fire for effect. There you go. And we should start seeing the smoke rounds go over there. Sounds really good in this now. They've improved them even since the latest beta. God, they're beautiful. Smoke's great. There's a little bit better view of the enemy here. It kind of gives you as much information as you have based on your sighting. As you can see here, this is a question mark as to whether or not what it is, etc. I probably didn't help myself by putting that right on top of it. That's all my 3 rounds, or 3 fires of mortar going off. So that's how, that's the whole thing. Again, you should be able to, oh, good gravy, I forgot how much crap is coming out here for this Twin Valley one. Alright, I'm going to just get out of this for just a second. But as you can see, so again, that was the single missions. We were just doing Twin Valleys, okay. Good amount of missions with it from the out of the box, if you will. Another thing you can do, and this is my favorite part of the game in general, and this was definitely this is similar to the first iteration of the series. Let's just take Full the Gap, and again, what you're doing is you're basically picking a selection out of a larger X by X map grid. This is the general sizing. If you want to take it to max, that's the max size that the game supports. The map area can be much larger, as you can see, so this is kind of neat. So if we want to include a little bit of folded here, see that? We've basically selected an area of the folded map. And you can have a little bit of control over the type of general type, which is force type determines how many points can be spent on different equipment categories. Sets the basic AI opponent behavior. If the force type is infantry, then the AI usually advances with its infantry units dismounted in front, tanks follow behind, supporting the infantry, etc. The infantry AI favors cover, blah blah blah. You can read. I'll let you finish that. But yeah, so you got different selections here. I'll just keep it mechanized on both. You can change air superiority. I'm just going to say none for now, just so I don't have to mess with it. But you have all forms of close air support, right? Capabilities. Harriers, Cobras, AH-1 Cobras. There are Apaches. What else? F4 Phantoms. Kiowa Warrior, Kiowa Scouts, etc. Off the top of my head. So here is where you're kind of fine-tuning it. You can do it as a meeting engagement, advance, a defense. Let's do it as a defense. This is fine. We're doing it as a defense. I usually kind of just in general, I tend to bring it down to like 3 objectives just to kind of keep it kind of more focused in an operational area. Let's see, dummy objectives. The probability for an objective to become a dummy. Interesting. So in other words, if you kind of want to keep it, keep yourself in the non-know, keep yourself fog of war for yourself. Even you don't know if it's a dummy or not. I don't know if there's any other indicator. Okay, interesting. You can do random objectives. Let's do that real quick. Let's randomize it again. That's kind of interesting. Dummy radius, blah, blah, blah. And then we done it. I'm going to set this to auto so I don't have to pick, but, if you wanted to basically use your combat power points, if you will, to kind of buy your elements, then, that's how you do that. What are some advanced? So here's basically your force ratios. You have full control over force ratios and overall combat power. The attacker has it looks like double power 2-to-1 combat ratio, which is interesting. Generally historical. This, oh, interesting. I thought I had it to, okay, let me just do that real again. Just give me a moment. Do it real quick. Yeah, I thought I had set it to auto. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, what I must have done, I must have hit advanced instead of auto there. But that should do it automatically. And then what's really, really cool is I could say, you know, whatever, I can save this however I want. Boom, boom, and now that becomes a load from the main screen. So if I wanted to, I could literally just later on down the street, you know, whatever I can do. You know, hold on, it's actually, there it is, full repeater 1. And you can even pick the side, so we can kind of look at what it generated for both sides real quick. So we'll take a look at blue or NATO forces real quick. This is what it auto-generated. So we had picked the very specific part of the overall Fulda Germany, area, operational area, and we had basically done the max size tactical map, if you will, and then we had basically said, you know, the force types, combat power, differences, and force structure, percent. So when you do the manual picking, like point-based, there are restrictions based on what you set within those advanced generate mission settings and so forth. So I'll just start it for, there's a bunch of TRPs. So let me just go back and show you. If I go back and I do a new game, user, pick that one again, I pick USSR, and then that becomes blue, actually. Another thing, let me go ahead and just show you that if I wanted to, I could set rounds. So let's take just a quick look at that, and then I'll end the demo part 1 here. But at this point, as you can see, we picked the Warsaw Pact here. And of course, they have twice as much combat power. Doctrine. There are newer formations in AB2. They now support company formations like this. Speaking of formations, we can also look at SOP, pathfinding, soft and hard target, range settings, rates of fire, whether or not you're using your main armament, whether you seek cover, etc., etc. It's pretty straightforward. The only thing I don't like is, unlike Flashpoint campaigns where you can pick a type and then send that SOP, send that standard operating procedure to the same type, or even, you know, it's not quite as elegant as like, for example, Flashpoint campaigns where you have like a lot of granular capabilities. You're not like setting certain types of offset ranges, or when you hold back and all that. I mean, Flashpoint campaigns kind of needs it more. It's not quite as needed here. You're not trying to be as granular when you're a battalion or a company commander as far as what they'll do. I mean, because you're gonna probably manually intervene more than not. Some of the other things you can do are load and unload from here. You can pop smoke. Let me just pop smoke real quick for the whole company and see what happens. Darn TRPs. Let's just see them all pop smoke. The whole company pop smoke. Oh, let's just go. So as you can see, you're giving it, or in this round mode, you're giving it, I don't know why it's not popping smoke, but let's go fast. Oh, maybe I found a, might have found a bug there, but alright, whatever. won't accentuate that too much. Let's see if I can pop smoke on one of these other guys. You're supposed to be able to give orders within the turn too. You just can't pause it. Huh. It's a little weird there, but oh well. Write that off as a. Okay, but I just kind of wanted to show you just the general mechanism for round-based mode for turns. Kind of gives you more of a feel of giving an order and stepping back, right? You know, if that's what you're into, and I generally am. Sometimes I just want to play it real time as well. So that's it. I will leave it at that for now. I might do a part 2, might not. We'll see. Have a good one.